Dear audience, let me welcome you here. This interview is part of the Czech Dead Film Movie Festival, which is annually organized by Czech Centers in cooperation with Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Czech Republic. Czech Dead Film has its 10th edition this year, but unfortunately we are again online due to the COVID-19 situation in the world. But we are happy that we can introduce you Czech filmmakers and directors through these short question and answers after the movies. And I'm here today with Tomáš Polensky, director and writer of the movie The Pack. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
And I would like to start just with a few questions about the movie. Tomáš, am I right that this is your first feature movie which is not a student movie?
Yeah, that's correct. And it's been my dream, and this is kind of a fulfillment of my dream, because I always wished to make a feature, and I was lucky to have it.
Yeah, we are lucky too. And first feature movie, and you started with a topic as a bullying, which is quite hard topic, and it's not easy to make a movie about topic like this, isn't it?
I don't know, because it came from my personal experience. Probably, well, our teachers on FAMU always told us that you should film about yourself. So I did it, and because I experienced bullying in ice hockey environment from both positions, mainly from the position of the victim. But I also once had the experience from the position of an aggressor. It was kind of interesting to experience the different side of bullying, because it was on a hockey camp, and we were all goalies in one dressing room. And there was one goalie who was a little bit older, but he was kind of mentally handicapped or something like that. And we made fun of him all the time. We hid his hockey gear, part of his hockey gear. We, told jokes about him and things like that. And suddenly he broke into tears, and I realized, well, I'm probably doing something wrong because he's crying. But before that moment, it felt just like a fun, and I realized there is a very thin line between bullying and fun.
Yeah, thank you for this confession that you experienced it in your life from both sides. That's quite interesting, and that was my next question, if the topic of the movie came from your personal experience, and you said yes. And was it hard to, let's say, write it down as a story when it's your personal experience, the bullying?
Well, I quit playing ice hockey when I was 18, so there's quite a big, distance from the experience I had. And I was lucky to have a co-writer. It's Irena Koci. She's a woman, and she's my colleague at the university, because I also teach at the university filmmaking. So it was great cooperation, because we live in different regions of Czech Republic, and we started writing as meeting each other on, but in the later on we decided to write on online. So we used Skype and share screens, and it was wonderful, because Irina was the one who was typing the screenplay, and I was, it was very symbiotic, because I had an image or idea or scene in my head, and I didn't have to even communicate it, and I've seen the words being typed in the monitor, and it was exactly what I had in my head, but in words. I had the images, because I'm not strong at writing. Literature is not my virtue, really. So I was happy that I had a colleague like Irina that was so symbiotic, and yeah, I was happy.
That's good.
And actually, she came up with the very interesting ideas, because at the beginning we didn't have our main character, David, being diabetic. It was actually her idea that he can be diagnosed with diabetes. At first, I was a little bit afraid that it can turn the theme of the movie into a movie about struggling with diabetes. But we use this motif only as a stigma of vulnerability or being different or being weak a bit in this tough community of strong hockey players.
Yeah, but and also with this this part of the story that the main character David is diabetic, maybe you wanted to show to children or teenagers that while you are struggling some disease like this, it's not a reason not to do sports, that you can still sport while you are having some disease like this.
Exactly, because when I first heard the idea from Irene, I wasn't sure whether it's possible to play ice hockey with this illness. But her partner is a doctor, and he gave us a lot of examples from ice hockey history that even NHL players can play ice hockey with diabetes. So I started to believe it's right, because for me it's very important when I make a script or make a film. For me, it's very important that feeling that it's real, that something it really exists. And so I had to do some research and make myself to believe it.
Yeah, but the diabetes, like the David diabetes, wasn't the reason why he was bullied. Like probably he was bullied only because he was new in the team, and the second goalie, the second main character, like was afraid that he could kick him off from his place in a team itself, because usually, or like it seemed to me in the movie, that the goalie is the boss in the team, in the hockey team.
Yes. Yes.
So the like bigger reason for bullying was this, like, let's say, fight who's number one in the team, more than the illness. But it helped kind of that they had a reason, like they could make fun of him because he has this thing on his belly which is controlling the sugar in his body and those things, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's right what you said. Mickey and the antagonist character, who is the son of the coach. This is a very important fact as well. Yeah. And the goalie in hockey can be only one. And there is this fight between these two goalies. So we kind of wanted to support the motivation of the bullying, because so one of the reasons is that there is only one spot in the hockey net, and it's for the better goalie. The other thing is he's new in the team. So he doesn't really know how the things working in the dressing room and in the team. And the third thing is the diabetes. And I think this motivation works for the rest of the team. It's not the motivation of the main aggressors. It's the motivation for the mute majority of the dressing room, because they kind of accept that those aggressors are right because he's different. He has this illness, and he's not fit for being a good hockey player. So that's the three main motivation for the bullying.
Yeah. So you made a movie about teenagers, and is it also a movie for teenagers? Are teenagers the focus group of the movie?
Yeah, that's our main target group, teenagers.
Yeah. And would you say that the movie is giving some like clean, let's say, or right advice to teenagers or children? Like what should they do if they are bullied, or they know that there is someone bullied in the school or in the team, or it's more like, let's say, open to just talk about this topic and think about it? What do you think?
I would say there is no manual, because like most of the time people are characters, they're doing exact opposite what they should do when bullying takes place. So, but I think there's one important message, and it is to fight for yourself, or to realize who you are and stand for it. That was my message, like, for the whole movie, because David, he does what his father wants, what, I don't know, what his girlfriend wants, and he doesn't do what he wants. And at the end of, maybe it's a spoiler, but you can cut it out. But at the end, he realized that he wants to play for this team, and he wants to fight for himself. And that's the important decision that make him, I think, grown or even adult. So that's also one of the motifs that makes this film a coming of age story a bit.
Yeah. I think we are not spoiling anything, because I just suppose that our audience is watching this interview after watching your movie. So, which is kind of leading me to my next question, because, or maybe just a thought, not a question, because I was quite surprised when I was watching the movie. How did it end up, kind of? Because I don't know, I just thought that it will be like, there is some bullying, and now we will give teenagers advice what to do to stop the bullying, and now happy end, no bullying anymore. It was kind of my thought how the movie should go, and it wasn't like this. It really ended up really different. So I was thinking like, okay, wanted they to give teenagers advice that you should go and break someone's head? I suppose not.
No, I think it's quite clear from the story that even David realizes that it wasn't a good decision to make. But the important message is taking responsibility for what he did, and that's the kind of the there is this scene, this disciplinary commission scene, and father tries to make David to lie. Yeah. And David refuses it because he wants to take responsibility for what he did. And I think it's very important. It was like the crucial moment of the whole story. Actually, we started this story as a short film, and this crucial moment was part of the short as well. And then we started to develop the other scenes that led to this crucial scene. And I believe, even from the feedback I have, right, from the viewers, that they understand what he does. When he hits Mickey with the sticks in the head, it's a very serious attack, and it's a revenge at that moment. And I think, well, it was fun because we had like preview screening for the elementary school for 14-year-old kid, and some of the kids said something like, well, he should have done it earlier, like, to beat Mickey down. But I think it's understandable, and I believe we are not saying that you should do this. We're saying that you should probably stand for yourself, but not in the meaning that you start like defending with physical aggressivity. But because when I experienced bullying, I realized maybe when I like said something, to stop making fun of me in the very beginning, it would stop. But I didn't, because I didn't trust in myself. I didn't have the confidence to stand for myself, to stand up for myself, saying, let it be, stop it. I don't think it's fun, or showing some kind of reaction that would prevent the other bullying. And I think, well, that's visible in the movie because it also begins like fun, with the initiation ritual in the showers, it can be considered as a fun, for most of the team, it's just fun, everybody that, experienced it. So, it's fun, but he doesn't have the confidence to stand up and to fight for himself in the meaning, not physical aggressivity, but in a meaning that, he should say stop. And I believe that little thing can change a lot.
Yeah, and there is really a thin line between fun and bullying, as you mentioned. And maybe it's my point of view from my personal experience that if you are new in a team, maybe you are like a teenager, 15, 16, whatever, you just think that you have to go through it, that they will then accept you, that you just think that, okay, I will handle this for a few days, weeks, months, and then I will be part of the team. And maybe it will just not stop and it's just a bullying. So, that's why it's really important, in my opinion, that you show the movie to children and teenagers, and then you discuss it with them, what they think about it and how would they act in this situation. I think that that it's really important.
Oh, yeah.
But let's talk about something more positive than bullying and diseases. You already said that you played hockey by yourself, so I suppose that it's the main reason why the movie is from the hockey environment. But isn't there any other reason, like, I don't know, that Czechs are big and proud hockey fans, maybe?
That's probably like producer's perspective. But for me, it was quite natural to make a movie about bullying from ice hockey environment, because I experienced it and I felt it's an attractive environment. And moreover, I haven't seen any film about bullying from ice hockey environment. So for me, it came out very natural. But the producers wanted to express in the text materials around the film that there is also other reasons. So I had to make up something in the director's note, and I believe it was just a realization of what I did naturally, and it's this fact that ice hockey is very, very hard. It's a very tough sport for tough guys and tough girls. And the line between something unacceptable in ice hockey is a bit further than in school, I think. So the bullying is much more aggressive, because the sport itself is aggressive. Mm-hmm. It's aggressive environment. Mm-hmm. So I felt it's very natural to put this story in this environment.
Like, I have to confess then that when we had discussions about which movies we should choose for this year's Check That Film, and we were just going through the list of the movies, and we were like, yeah, the pack, like the important topic, and also hockey. We are making a movie showcase in USA and Canada, so it could work. Like, there are a lot of hockey teams in Canada and in US. So we were like, okay, it should be a choice for us, because it could be quite interesting for the audience there. So I have to admit that it was one of the reasons.
Thank you very much for the choice. I'm really happy and privileged.
And I'm just wondering how hard it was, or how long did it take for you to choose like the group of actors? Because if you have a hockey team or football team or some other team, and now you want this team to be played by some actors, they should work like a team, this group of actors. So I'm just thinking that it probably took quite a long time to find the working group of actors together.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, it took us 2 years to cast the film. Because at first we visited like the acting schools, you know, the secondary acting schools that are 4 in Czech Republic. And we were looking just for the talents, not for the particular roles, but for the talents. And I was quite disappointed visiting those schools that there are not many talented boys. There are a lot of talented like girls, but you know, talented boys, none, almost none. And if they are, they don't look like a sportsman. You know, they're like too thin or too intellectual, like just from the features of their body or their face. So yeah, it was tough, and we didn't know really how to solve it. And we started to work with some casting agencies that worked us a lot. And the the other aspect of it was like the time of the development, because you know it takes years to develop film. And the example of the pack was quite short, because it took us three years, you know, to develop the film before we started to shoot. It was quite fast, but even this short case caused the growing or aging our actors, because
That's true.
we shot a pilot, a short pilot, like 5 minutes. It was only three scenes from the movie, and we casted a guy for the main role, for David. And you know, the year passed, and we started preparation for the movie. And when I've seen it, he looked like an old father almost, because he was I think he was 18 or 19 when we first shoot with him. And after a year, you know, he grew old. Like, you know, he looked like, or I don't know, 25 or even older. And he got fatter, which was quite problematic because he was very short. And we had only, I don't know, 4 months before we were supposed to start shooting. So what should we do? We have to do another casting. So we did another casting, and we casted the second guy for the main role. But I wasn't very satisfied with this choice, because he was like too thin. He was not a good actor, really. So when we start rehearsing with him, I realized he's the weakest actor of the whole group, and he was supposed to be the main character. So, but I was lucky because he wasn't a very responsible person. So we had arranged a rehearsal with like 2 famous actors, like Jiří Běhorálek and Vlastina Svátková, who were playing the roles of mother and father of David. And he didn't attend at the meeting, at the at the rehearsal. So finally, for me, that was a reason to, you know, to recast him, to find somebody else. And it was only 3 weeks before the main shooting. So I was very lucky, because I had a very great first AD. It was Vlasta Čtvrtníčková, and she had a lot of friends in the different several casting agencies. So she sent me a lot of pictures, a lot of, you know, footage, and we phoned Tomáš Dalecký, who is the main character. And when I first saw him, I thought, oh, he's too thin, you know, he's too tall. I don't think he's, you know, he's the person who would be bullied, but he's such a good actor. When I first saw him at the casting, I thought to myself, okay, we can like fix the problems with, you know, with the height of David, and we can, you know, cover it somehow. So I was very, very happy, because he's such a talented actor. And for me, it was like a miracle, because after 2 years, I couldn't find the main character. I found this one. And the last shooting day was, again, a miracle that really happened. And it was the scene when David comes out of the ice rink after the hitting Mickey, and there is this ambulance, and there is this Mickey, you know, on the carrier, and he's crying. It was, for me, it was quite a unique experience because I asked, you know, I gave him the motivation, you know, I described what it's supposed to look like, and I said, you know, I would like you crying. Do you need any help from the makeup or things like that? And he said, no, just let me be for a while. So I went out of the corridor, you know, working with the DOP on the shot and you know, on the staging. And then when we were ready to shoot, I came back to him and he was already crying. And I wanted to give him some more motivation, you know. And I said, okay, I just wanted to tell you we're shooting. So it's, you know, it's one of the miracle moments when you're filmmaking, that it's not your work. It's I don't know, it's some kind of energy between us or things like that. So yeah, I was very happy for the main actor. And well, there are other aspects of casting if you want to know about them. Maybe if we're not too long. And it's the skating abilities, because I was very naive, because I at first I thought we can have a good skater and get good actor like in one person. Then I had to admit that it's not possible. So the solution was using doubles for, you know, for the wider shots, you're using doubles like good hockey players, and for close-ups the actors. But we had this funny character called Bob the Joker in the team, and we really couldn't find the right actor for it. And the last casting was, I don't know, a month before shooting, and it took place in Zlín, and it was amongst the hockey players, because we thought maybe there could be a guy, like a non-actor, who would be talented enough to play this role. And it was funny because me and Julieta Sichel, the producer, we believed it. And her husband, the producer, Jan Froniek, he thought, well, you fools, you think that among the hockey players, there will be this talented actor or non-actor. But he was there, actually. And it was fun because he was the first appeared in front of the camera, like during the audition. So it was another luck we had during the preparation.
So you were really lucky while casting the actors for the team players.
Not only, I would say, not only while casting, but while the production as well, because we had to overcome some difficulties with the injury of the main actor, you know, postponed making ice on the ring, so we had to reschedule some, you know, many times the shooting schedule, and we had to fix a lot of problems, but yeah, we were lucky.
Yeah, you were lucky in the end, and I'm sure that we will see Tomáš Dalecký in like other movies quite soon, because as you mentioned, he's really talented. And also, as you mentioned, that he's really tall and really thin, so he's not the person I could imagine if you say a goalie. I would more imagine someone short and maybe a bit like, I don't want to say fat, but you know, someone chubby who is like sitting as a goalie there. And he's really tall and thin, but he I think made a really good job in the end.
Yeah, it's actually, it's quite opposite. As a goalie, you cannot be fat, because I was a goalie when I played ice hockey, and you have to be like very fast, very you have to have good reflections, and when you're fat and short, you don't have that. And,
Yeah, that's right.
You know, some of the best goalies that are very tall, like I think Dominik Hasek is, I don't know, 180 centimeters tall or something like that. So he's quite big, and it's quite an advantage, because you don't have to move that much, because you use your body to stop the puck.
Block it with
Yeah,
your
you just
body.
block it.
Yeah, and probably my last question, are you working on something new we could look forward to watch soon, or?
Yes, I'm working on quite on a few things. all of them are adaptations of the teenage books. One of them is called The Parkourist or Free Runner. And it's a book about a guy who lived in a high-rise estate. He lived only with his mother and with his younger sister because their father left them. And he wants to do some sport, and but the mother, she doesn't have money for it, for any kind of sport. And in a job, he met a parkourist, and he started to do parkour, and he meets a girl. He falls in love with this girl, and this girl uses his skills to rob the shop, and he does it only because he loves her, and he has to take responsibility for it. So it's another story about, coming out of age story, taking responsibility. It's kind of my personal topic, I would say. Right?
And doing sport.
Sorry?
And doing sport.
Yes.
Sport and taking responsibility for what you did. Thank you very much, Tomáš. Thank you for the interview, and I would like to also thank to our audience for watching us, and I would like to invite you to watch other movies which we have in the selection for this year's Czech That film. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
You too.